Hello, welcome to another episode of Digital to Foot Traffic. I'm your host, Kevin Shi. Today we have a very special guest today, all the way from Korea. Actually, he's been living in Hong Kong for a while. Stephen Su, founder of Floship, co-founder of Floship. Right? Nice to have you here, Stephen.
Nice to be here as well. It's a privilege.
Actually, Stephen's been living in Hong Kong for a while, and I often catch up with him once a year, twice a year. But it's always fascinating me. He always is young, he's energetic, and he always has a very good business model that revolves around e-commerce. And the reason why I brought him on this show is because mostly of our listeners are retailers doing digital. But if we're going to flip it around and look at what's going on in the e-commerce sector, is really interesting. And I think our listeners should get a lesson what's developing right now in the e-commerce sector. So what is Floship and what does it do?
So Floship is a global cross-border e-commerce fulfillment company. So we're based out of Hong Kong. And we service the online retailer that is looking to take their business internationally. So, typically e-commerce businesses will start on their domestic, turf and try to service their domestic customers. But there comes a point where there's an inflection point where there's only so much business that you can actually serve domestically, and you want to start thinking about international. So the typical rule of thumb is that maybe if your business is about 30% international, that's when you may want to start thinking about, international fulfillment. And for instance, if you're manufacturing in China, that's where it makes a lot more sense for you to start thinking about, hey, maybe I should have an international distribution hub closer to my manufacturer.
Okay. If I'm just an exporter or I'm selling a product, right? And if I were to ship myself, like post office or DHL, FedEx, versus you guys, what's the difference? Why do I have to use you guys compared to like a FedEx or a post office?
Well, I mean, typically when you're starting off in doing e-commerce logistics, or when you're thinking about international logistics, you have to maybe set up your own courier accounts.
Yeah.
And if you set up your own courier accounts, maybe you're not doing enough volume where you're getting the discounts that you like.
Oh, so you guys can do it even cheaper.
Yeah, so we have a catalog of different, couriers that you can just tap into immediately without even having to negotiate, with the couriers and trying to get the discounts that you like. Okay. We've already pre-negotiated a lot of these rates because of economies of scale and the volume that we're doing.
Okay.
So if you want to tap into a FedEx or a DHL with a snap of a finger, or a Hong Kong Post or a Singapore Post, we can give that access to you.
So you guys are not the courier, but you guys do the fulfillment around the courier.
Exactly.
So you guys do like the packaging or the labeling, or what's fulfillment compared?
Yeah. So we're plugging into all the different shipping carriers that enable the international shipping.
Yeah.
And then we're also connected to the warehouses.
Okay.
So basically our software will connect to your website. So if you're on a Shopify or Magento, WooCommerce, and you have a storefront, we'll be able to connect directly to your website. We'll digest those orders automatically.
Okay.
And then from there we will process the order, go to the particular picking station to pick the individual products, package the goods into a box or a mailer, and then basically pass it off to the number of different shipping carriers.
You seem pretty young. I mean, how did you get into this business, and how did you get into this business in Hong Kong?
Yeah,
give me some background about how.
Yeah, I look young, but I feel like I'm starting to get on the older side. But I mean, really, how I got involved with this is. I was working out in the U.S. I was doing the corporate thing, and then I felt that...
You're a graduate of business studies, or...?
Yeah, I was a graduate of business studies.
Okay.
But I've always thought of myself as an international business guy.
Okay.
And, it's easy for you to kind of be in this bubble and saying that the U.S. is the number one economy of the world. Yeah. But this world is only getting smaller and smaller.
You're from Pittsburgh, right?
Philadelphia.
Close. Okay.
Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So that's where I grew up, most of my life.
Okay.
And, for me to really think of, I have 30 to 40 years of my life, of my career left.
Yeah.
And if I want to be an international business guy, I can't just be focused just living and working in the U.S.
So you still had no idea about this drop shipping when you decided?
Yeah, I had no idea, right?
Okay. You just want to explore the world.
Exactly. Right. So I was involved with corporate America in the healthcare industry. So totally irrelevant. Right. But then I was always like this networker kind of guy. Meeting like high level people. I love that. Right. As a younger guy, wanting to be successful. And then I was a part of this organization called the National Association of Asian American Professionals.
Okay.
So it's I would say it's more of a North America organization, but it's kind of gone more international.
So it's not like Crazy Rich Asian.
Nothing like that. Crazy Rich Asians for everyone, right?
Okay.
So yeah, you had a lot of these like senior advisory kind of council members.
Yeah.
So, but I started off on the Philadelphia chapter level.
Okay.
Right. So I kind of went from secretary to vice president, and then I got onto the national administration team kind of thing.
So it's a big group, huh?
It's a pretty big group. I would say it's about a good maybe 3,000 plus professionals. I don't know where it is right now.
Okay.
But basically their motto is "We make leaders."
Okay.
Right. Cool. So Asian Americans, you know, you're kind of fighting with what's called the bamboo ceiling.
The bamboo ceiling. Did you just make that up?
No. There's actually a book. There's actually a book.
I heard the glass ceiling. I never heard that.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Okay.
So, Asian Americans kind of fight where like they can only get to like a director level, but they can't get into the C-level, kind of positions, right? Yeah. So this is where like you're developing yourself professionally, to maybe crack
the bamboo
ceiling, right?
Okay. And then instead of cracking the bamboo ceiling, you just go to Asia and say, forget about the ceiling, man.
Yeah, so right before that, I mean, I decided to promote an event called Doing Business in China and India.
Okay.
And that's where I had a couple of executives, do some panel discussions and speaking. Yeah. And the main thing that I got from that event was actually a gentleman named Fred Tang, who was a CEO of basically a Time magazine for China, called News China.
Okay.
And he said, hey, forget about all these talks, all the research that you're doing on China. Yeah. You have to go to China and experience yourself.
This is back in what, 10 years ago?
This was like 2006, 7, 8.
Okay. That's right somewhere around the Lehman collapse, right?
Yeah, around that time.
Okay.
Right? And so everyone's kind of like fearing for their jobs, and the U.S. economy, etc. But I mean, China was always on my mind, even when I graduated from college. Okay. You know, I'm a Korean American guy, let alone. But I always thought that if I wanted to go international, the best place after the U.S. was China. Yeah,
obviously.
So with that advice that I got from that panelist, I said, I'm going to basically leave corporate and do this 3-week trip.
3 weeks.
Informational trip to Asia. It wasn't a pleasure trip.
Organized by the association.
Well, so with this organization, I was actually what's called a senior advisory council liaison. Okay. So there was about like a good 10 individuals that are recognized Asian American leaders in America. So there may be C-level guys, entrepreneurs, or leaders in government organizations or whatever. And through that, there were some, I tapped into that network, some great people who I'm like grateful to this day. Introduced me to people in Shanghai and in Hong Kong and say, hey, Steve's coming to Shanghai and Hong Kong. He's just very interested about potentially like working in China or what it's like. And these are people that have been there already for like 10, 15 years. Okay. So for me, I was like, this is great because these are people that were in America but found a way to be successful in China or even in Hong Kong. And so I was like, hey, what better way for me to kind of get that knowledge from them and soak it like a sponge. So how long have you been doing your own Floship and how's Floship doing now? Yeah, so Floship, we started in February 2015.
Wow, seems like that forever ago, huh?
Exactly.
When I first met you, that was just when you first started.
That was the early days. That's like one of the first talks I did, maybe the second talk I did.
Wow, okay.
And I was like, man, I'm speaking next to the Kevin Shi here. Like, how is this even possible here? You know, I totally misplaced this guy in this panel.
No, man. Anyways, and how you guys compete with your competition? There's nothing like it back in those days, right?
Back in the day, I mean, there was definitely no one like it. We're starting to. As we've done Floship, we've seen a couple of guys that try to do what we're doing. Okay. But it's not an easy business to execute. Yeah. And so what we've seen eventually.
Because the margin is not high.
Well, on fulfillment, I would say the margin is definitely a lot higher. Okay. But there's a lot of complexity. Okay. When it comes down to international shipping. Okay. When you're doing a domestic shipping, let's say you're from the U.S. And you're shipping from, let's say, like Chicago to New York. Yeah. It's not that hard. Just go to a postal office. Yeah. And they basically tell you what to do. Exactly. But when you're talking about international shipping, and you're talking
all the customs.
More from an e-commerce standpoint, Then you have more of the declared values they put on the package become sensitive.
Yeah.
It's not exactly like a gift to a friend.
Yeah.
There's commercial. You have to worry about the commercial invoice.
Yeah.
Then if you're shipping a battery product, then there's...
So that's good though, because if you mastered it and it's so hard, it's barrier for entry.
Exactly. So there's a lot more barrier to entry.
Yeah.
And so a lot of those problems, we bring that back into our software.
Okay. How long did it take for you guys to develop software?
Oh gosh, I mean, it took at least a good year.
You're still developing it right now.
Oh, of course. In the
Is it
building
hard
the
to hire an
foundations
engineer?
of it. In Hong Kong, yes.
Mm-hmm. Even in China, even in Shenzhen.
It's getting tougher in Shenzhen as well.
Because if I'm such a good programmer, I work for BAT, right?
BAT's
Right.
one of them, or you even have the Western companies coming in, like
Yeah, exactly.
even Microsoft.
So do you think Hong Kong is at a disadvantage for tech startups because we cannot hire high quality programmers at a good price because you're so competitive with all the other guys?
Definitely, and even if you find a good one, they're just so stinking expensive.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't make sense. And then the other thing about Hong Kong is you have to worry about the office space, which costs an arm and a leg as well.
Yeah.
Compared to like somewhere else, like what you're doing in Thailand or Vietnam, right? It doesn't even compare.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the good quality engineers, most likely they're going somewhere else.
Yeah.
They're going to go to Silicon Valley.
So basically what you guys do is if I have an online store and I'm selling things online, they used you to do the fulfillment from all the way from shipping, declarations, from packaging and everything, right?
Exactly.
Do you see the trend going up and up and up and there's no stopping of this e-commerce trend?
Oh yeah. I mean,
everything?
Especially what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
I mean, cross-border is going to be $1 trillion market in 2020.
Okay. But there are some, like, is there like a graph or anything? Like what kind of stuff is more, I would rather buy online in physical store, but what kind of stuff I would still rather buy on retail? Like for example, like a diamond ring, like, you know, like a $500,000 diamond ring. I'd rather go to a store or to a brand I trust, right? If they have an e-commerce store, maybe. Even then, I'm still more convinced of their physical location.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I don't even know how like the companies like Blue Nile and even Tiffany's may even have an online presence. But really, when you're looking at luxury goods, the best place to buy is at the store, at the retail.
Exactly. But do you see like a merge, like that line shifting further and further?
Well, you know what the interesting thing is right now? And I was actually just talking about this like a few hours ago.
Okay.
And you know, just really about offline retail.
Okay.
And you think that offline retail is dying.
But it's not.
But it's not.
I heard Costco and Walmart is still having like a huge amount of growth.
Absolutely.
And why is that? So e-commerce is not killing it. They're just making the pie bigger.
They're making the right bets as well. It's not like Walmart is just doing offline retail. They're going online as well.
Okay.
They have their own marketplace in the US. They also do cross-border. They're acquiring companies. They acquired, you know, a marketplace in India.
Okay.
And they're trying to compete against Amazon.
Okay. But how are they doing something that's different than like a pure e-commerce play?
Well, I think what Walmart has down is that they've had great relationships with a lot of their vendors for a long time, and that's why they're able to really command these really low costs, you know, to begin with.
Okay.
And they understand distribution. They understand supply chain.
Okay.
Right. So in terms of warehousing and space, it's not a real issue for them. Another thing that they're able to do is not only are they servicing B2B and servicing their own stores, but they can use that space for e-commerce distribution as well.
Oh, so what they're not selling something, they just
exactly. So you're taking more advantage of that space that you have.
Okay.
So that's
the last interaction, are they still focusing on retail, physical, face to face, or they're gonna ship something to you? I heard they're doing like a hybrid, some kind of like, you know, you buy something online, you can pick it up in any one of the stores.
Exactly.
Something like that.
But what's the genius part of that as well? Is that not only are they going to pick up that product in the store,
they're gonna upsell
but you're actually in that store.
So you're going to upsell them something.
Exactly. And you're going to walk around and you're going to buy something else.
So it's like all the way, like you have to go through a maze or something, you have to go to the brand or something like that.
Exactly.
Right?
So it's that whole experience, right? How do you optimize on every interaction that you're having with the customer?
Okay.
Right. And
so Amazon can never kill all the stores. They just have to change fast enough.
I don't think I mean, Amazon has a hell of a lot of cash.
Yeah.
They've acquired Whole Foods.
Yeah.
They're coming up with their own products.
And the reason they acquire Whole Food is because they want more interaction. They want more transactions.
They want more of that interaction. They're kind of testing the offline aspect where now it's like you enter a store and you don't even need to interact with the cashier.
Yeah.
And so how do they really take that experience and get that data, right? And, you know, plug that back into that entire ecosystem.
Well, let me ask you a question that's more relevant to Hong Kong, since we're both in Hong Kong. You think the e-commerce craze or growth is going to be similar in Hong Kong? We're a few years behind, but we have HKTV Mall, which is still losing money, right? You think it's going to ever catch on because technology is getting faster and faster? And the final question is, do you think that would have an impact on shopping malls, particularly prices of these shopping malls?
You know,
because everybody's like, a lot of people is doing what they do in the West. Like, I would go to the bookshop, for example, like they don't have a music shop anymore. I look at whatever, I take a picture of it, I go home and I buy it online, right? That's getting more and more prevalent even in Asia.
I mean, believe it or not, it's already happening.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's not exactly Hong Kong sellers.
Yeah. Okay.
Hong Kong buyers are going on Taobao. They're going on Tmall.
Yeah.
They're finding all these great deals.
But you think that's going to have an impact on the rents? They can't make everything into restaurants, man. I mean, I know the kitchens are small, but there's only so many restaurants we can take, man.
No, I mean, I definitely it's going to impact, traditional retail.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm what was it, like two years ago at least, the retail apocalypse came into Hong Kong.
Really?
And retail sales have been affected.
Yeah.
Here in Hong Kong.
So people are buying stuff, just not for
you would have, exactly.
Okay.
Right. So I mean, I've dealt with Hong Kong online retailers here.
Okay.
And they're just trying to service the Hong Kong market.
That's
but
dumb,
there's
right?
only so much volume that you can really garner.
Yeah.
To the Hong Kong market.
Okay.
I mean, we even entertained one of the top online retailers in Hong Kong.
Okay.
And the volume was low.
Because they weren't thinking of expanding their things overseas.
They should have.
Okay.
Right. You got it. I mean, Hong Kong's a great place for logistics. So tapping into Singapore, Korea, Taiwan, it seamlessly can be done.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they just got narrow-minded, and then you think.
So this is a Hong Kong pure retail play.
Hong Kong pure retail play.
I mean, sorry, Hong Kong pure online retail.
Online retail.
They don't have physical presence.
They didn't have a physical presence.
Why? They're so narrow-minded.
Yeah, I mean that's where where the entrepreneurs, the guys that really understand business and profitability, and then this is where also the whole startup aspect of, hey, I got venture funding, as long as I have cash, I don't really have to worry about making my business profitable one day. But what happens when those funds dry up? And you can't support that business anymore.
Exactly.
It's all about the long term.
Exactly.
You can't be planning for the short term. And
so, do you think retailers still can survive? They just have to change. They just have to use what they're good at and turn to ways how Walmart leverage and
I mean, I still feel like, offline people can compete. If they already have an established offline presence, and they go online. I would say that it's even easier for an online retailer to go offline.
Have a store.
In a store. Because we have the emergence of the pop-up stores where
talk about that. Talk about the pop-up store. That's a new craze for the online retailers. How are they merging offline to online?
You mean online to offline? Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, you already have an online customer base.
Okay.
And you can let them know that, hey, if you want to try the products, you can go to one of these offline stores, or the pickup or the pop-up shops. And it's particularly like apparel.
Okay.
Apparel, you kind of want to try things on.
Some of the things you can't convince people just by a picture.
Exactly. And let me give you actually a very good example of what's going on in terms of online e-commerce.
All right.
Custom apparel.
Okay.
So this whole aspect of maybe in the past, you had a tailor coming to you and visiting you in your house and measuring you, and then you get your suits and tailor-made shirts.
I'd rather do that physically than buying something I don't trust. I bought. Okay.
Exactly. But now what's going on is you can go to these pop-up shops. And then you may even have like these freelance, people trained to measure, people what their sizes are. Take the measurements, and you put that into the cloud, or you put that onto your online shop. And then you're making orders that way. And then you're shipping direct from the manufacturer in China.
So the pop-up shops are not selling you anything, but just take your measurements.
Exactly. You don't have to worry about inventory. And that's the biggest capital risk that any offline retailer has to worry about.
Okay, so they're just there to collect the data.
Exactly, and it's made to order.
Okay.
So forget about inventory. There's zero inventory in this model.
Okay.
And that concept in itself has been a business model in its own.
But how is pop-up store going there, getting people to get their brand recognition, convincing them to go online, buy their stuff, and if they do have enough traffic, then they open a regular store. Is that what's been happening?
Exactly, right?
Okay.
So in the pop-up shops, there's people that don't even go online to shop as well.
Okay, yeah.
So you're getting
convincing
those
this
kind of
segment of people who've never been online.
Exactly.
Okay.
So let's say you're putting your pop-up shop like on Wall Street or somewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
You have plenty of guys looking for a nice suit at a good cost and it's fashionable.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now let's say you get a lot of traffic and that pop-up model concept becomes even popular.
Yeah.
And you all kind of understand where the locations are.
Yeah.
Now that minimal investment that you've made on renting out like 3 months of space, now you can lease out a space for a year or 2 years.
It's just like a testing ground, right?
Exactly, because it's going to be profitable later.
I have a good friend that sells a t-shirt online. I don't know, you know him, Waylon? He Snap Tea.
Snap Tea, yes.
It's going pop-up store now.
Yeah.
So I did some, I was advisory consulting with him. I go, make sure your pop-up. He has like basically like a window where people can feel the shirt and then they can buy online. And then when he has scale, then he can get licenses from various different characters from Disney, Star Wars, whenever, because he has a scale. But the trick is his pop-up store is just like a casing. Like it's like a display case, right?
Yeah.
With a big wheel on it. And the reason for the wheel is if your landlord raises your rent just by a little bit, you just shove it and you move it to the next store and you film that whole process and you show it to your landlord.
Is that a Kevin Shi?
Well, they don't have you by the balls, man. Right? Everything's movable, right?
I mean, that's what you're doing with the storage lockers too, right?
Well, that's another story, man. But you know, the thing people make money here is landlord give you quite a reasonable rate, so you invest heavily in your decorations, and then they jack your rent up to the max because they think the cost of you removing and rebuilding is the same, right? And if you can, if that mover thing is movable, then you know,
you have to worry about this stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense.
Okay, let me ask you more questions. What's next in store for Floship? I heard you guys are expanding.
Yeah. So for Floship, you know, we've done a lot of this cross-border thing directly from Hong Kong.
Okay.
But now we're starting to see a lot more demand in going to China.
Okay.
Every online retailer's dream, especially more of the mature brands, they want to figure out China.
Okay.
So you know, now we have some solutions.
Okay.
For you to enter into the China market.
Okay.
Now China, you know, it's a different whole nother language. It's a whole nother marketing.
But you came from China, right?
Aspects.
So you know, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I have a network, right, that I can just tap into and make sure that they're kind of part of the ecosystem.
Okay.
To help online retailers to get into the China market.
Yep.
And China is a very marketplace-driven market.
Okay.
You know, in terms of, you know, setting up your own website and directing traffic to there, that's less of a thing. However, it's changing in China. But still, much of the orders, the volume is coming from the marketplaces like Tmall, JD.com.
Okay.
Now even WeChat is starting to come up with their own marketplace storefronts as well.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting, you know, what's going on there as well, you know, because Tmall and JD.com, the cost to set up is very, very high.
Yeah.
So if you're an international online retailer or even an offline brand trying to enter the China market, you better be ready to spend at least $75,000 just to set it up. But then you have to worry about the marketing.
Is that for everybody or just for the big brands?
It's for anyone. If you want to
why the cost of entry is so high? I mean, they're making money from you. Period.
They already have enough. You know,
vendors,
guys. You know, selling on the platform.
They don't need you, right? Yeah.
They know the cost.
They know how much you're making.
They know how much you're making, but they also know what will kind of pull them or draw them.
Okay.
You know, and then what does it make sense?
Okay.
You know, to have this cost of onboarding.
So you want to set up like an e-commerce stores in China selling to Chinese is not easy. It's not cheap.
Oh, it's definitely not easy.
Yeah.
And Chinese customers are definitely different from the Western buyer as well.
They're more cost conscious.
Cost conscious, but they're also trust conscious now as well because there's a lot of.
I think there's two sides of Chinese customers. One, they want value for their money. They will always want a cheaper brand.
Yes.
And two, you have this segment where they just got rich really quick and they want to flaunt their wealth.
Yes.
So if you have some genuine French stuff, genuine Italian stuff, they'll buy it. Yeah.
Any of that European.
So one market you don't see in China is the rich but humble type, or the rich but environmental type, right? I'm rich, but I'm more inclined with nature. I just want to zero effect carbon. No, if I'm rich, I want to show off, right?
Exactly. Praise appreciation for the
exactly, right? So you don't have those New Yorkers, billionaires who's walking their dogs and wearing the same clothes every day. You don't get that, right? Exactly. Not China. That's like maybe 30 years away.
Not in China. You know,
either they're struggling or they're flaunting.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, I got this huge disparity.
Yeah. And so you'll be in Floship for the next I don't know 5-10 years. You love what you do, and then you can continue to innovate and helping the e-commerce people, right?
Exactly. I mean that's the end goal. And making this world a lot smaller.
So we have listeners who are retailers who wants to get some digital skills to improve their traffic in their store, and we have e-commerce guys as well. If they want to contact you to do drop shipping, fulfillment, how can they reach you?
So you can go to our website,
okay.
www.floship.com.
Okay.
FLOSHIP.com.
Okay.
FLOW.
We'll put a footnote in the podcast.
Okay, cool.
Is there an email that we can reach you with?
Yeah, so there's an email info@floship.com.
Okay.
You can contact us there.
Okay.
And yeah, we can also, when you go to the website, you can fill out a form.
Okay.
And once you fill out the form, one of our sales reps will get back immediately.
To them immediately, right?
Exactly.
Okay, well, thanks, Steve. Thanks for having you here. We hope to catch up with you again soon. Maybe in a different setting, maybe in Shenzhen next time.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Sounds good.
Thank you for listening to Digital to Foot Traffic. Join our mailing list at digitaltofoottraffic.com for more of our digital insights and strategies.
Leave us a review on iTunes or your favorite Android apps and subscribe so we'll show you the second we launch a new episode.